Hello and welcome everybody to a special episode of All Steelers Talk. We're your hosts Noah Strackbine and Donnie Droon, and for the first time ever, me and you are about to do somewhat of a live mock draft. We've actually never sat down and done one together, although we do put out our final product now for the second season in a row. Shout out me for drafting Chase Claypool last season. Shout out both of us for drafting Najee Harris this season, which will likely happen. And that's where I'm going to start. Before we jump into things, Donnie, we're draft day. It is draft morning. We are hours away from the first pick. The Pittsburgh Steelers have had every position imaginable thrown around them. It comes back to Najee Harris. Is it going to be Najee Harris? That's the big question.
Yeah, barring a fall from anybody big, including Trevor Lawrence, which absolutely will not happen, all signs are pointing to either a guy like Najee Harris. I mean, we've heard people just Tevin Jenkins, tackle from Oklahoma, Zaven Collins, there's just some other guys being thrown out there. So I think all the dominoes are in place for either Najee Harris or Travis Etienne to be a Steeler.
I agree. I think running back is a pretty obvious choice. I was a little uncertain. I want to say 90-10 a couple of days ago, and then I went to the pre-draft press conference, and Kevin Colbert said that Hall of Fame running backs usually come in the first round. And to me, that was just all signs that the Steelers know that they need a running back. You know, they didn't skip around the question whenever they were asked about a running back. Everything was pretty direct. They want to get the next superstar in there. Najee Harris is a great guy. Let me ask this question, and Travis Etienne too, but let me ask this question. When it comes to Najee, who's obviously the big name surrounding Pittsburgh, does it concern you that he's an older back? That seems to be the only reason or doubt that people have thrown out there so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But if you're optimally prioritizing a running back for the first part of his contract, he's really only going to be a part of the team for maybe 5 to 7 years, if that. And I know running backs usually hit that wall around the age of 30, but by then you can always draft another running back. I mean, the running backs are so replaceable in the NFL, and then that's where the argument for not drafting a running back in the first round comes into play. But at the end of the day, you need to upgrade the running back room. You need to improve the rushing attack somehow. I mean, we're talking about a Steelers team who lost 3 starters on the offensive line. They lost their lead back in James Conner. They fired their offensive coordinator. Haven't done a whole lot to improve it. So the 2021 draft this year, it's time for them to actually start fulfilling their promise to improve the run game. And first and foremost, they're probably going to grab a running back to fix that.
I agree. I definitely agree. I have no concerns. People are like, oh, he's 29 by the time the end of his rookie deal's up. That stinks for Najee Harris, but that's totally fine for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're just going to use a running back until they don't have to use a running back anymore. That's what they did with everybody else. They weren't going to re-sign Le'Veon Bell for more than he was worth. They held him back. I will say this, you said the Steelers can, just draft somebody new. They don't tend to do that very well. And when they do hit that money shot, they stick. They usually, get the most out of them in that first contract, which is super important, which is another reason why Najee should come to Pittsburgh. When is the first defender drafted? That's my next question. The Steelers are linked. You said Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. Obviously, Notre Dame star that I will not try to pronounce his name.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
There he is again. He did it again.
I've had a ton of practice, bro.
He did it again. Effortless. If he slides, he could be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Some people still say edge rusher. I don't even understand that. When is the first defender drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers?
That's a really good question. I mean, ideally, if I'm sitting there in the GM room, some form of running back, offensive tackle, offensive center would take precedent, at least for me. So at least with my line of thinking, probably not until the 4th round. But, the Steelers love going that quote-unquote best player available scenario round after round. And, there might be a guy that falls, whether it's them at 24, whether it's to them at 55 or any other round. Ideally, I do think if they go Najee, they'll be hard-pressed to not draft offensive tackle or offensive center in the 2nd round. So I think the earliest we could probably see defender go, barring any falls, is probably the 3rd round.
I would say the 3rd round is probably where that money shot is. I think there's still a lot of guys. You could find a good cornerback in the 3rd round, which is what I was going to talk about next. But, with the Steelers, they have the Justin Lane issue. We talked a little bit about that before the show, but it doesn't look good for him. If I had to take a guess, I don't think Justin Lane plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers much longer than he already has. And that means that it's James Pierre or die. And that's a little scary. It's concerning. James Pierre has potential. I get that. But the Steelers could look to draft a cornerback. I think third round is where that best, you still have a good group of corners that don't need to come in and be starters, but they still have, a little bit going on for them. And maybe something crazy happens. Maybe Caleb Farley falls that far because of his medical issues and the Steelers jump on him at 55. You never know. But I think the third round, like you said, is that money spot for a defender. When it comes to a quarterback, Kevin Colbert said maybe. The Athletic seems to just think that it's going to happen. Kyle Trask is already penciled into Pittsburgh somewhere in the middle of the draft. Kellen Mond, maybe. Do you see a quarterback? I don't see a quarterback.
No, I don't see a quarterback at all, but I do want to go on record. And if Chris Sims from NBC Sports is even relatively close to being right about Justin Fields falling to the 24th pick, and the Steelers do not pick Justin Fields, I'll see you on Monday because I'll be on a one-way ticket to Pittsburgh, and I'll try to sort everything out for the Steelers and figure out what the hell is going on behind the scenes, why Justin Fields isn't a Steeler to begin with, if he falls that far, which he won't. But
let me ask this, because I'm somebody, I don't really agree with that, and everybody keeps freaking out about it. Dude, is Justin Fields really worth it? Like, look, at this point, we're just assuming that Ben Roethlisberger only has 1 year left. We don't know that for sure. They have Mason Rudolph, who they still have some faith in. And on top of that, they have Dwayne Haskins that Mike Tomlin talked very highly about in his press conference. And then they have Josh Dobbs, who's just sitting there. But it really doesn't, like, I get Justin Fields is a superstar, but is he good enough to bring in at 24, sit behind in a group 100%,
of guys? Dude. If a potential franchise quarterback and one of the best quarterback prospects that will probably come out within the next 2 or 3 years.
One of the most overlooked or overanalyzed prospects as well, which could go both sides. You have to remember that.
Yeah. So if you can get that at 24, pick number 24, absolutely do it. Absolutely, especially where Roethlisberger is at the end of his career right now. I think Justin Fields would come in and be the quarterback number 2 right away. I think he would easily beat out Mason Rudolph in the quarterback competition for the backup spot.
I agree with that. I think that he would. I think Justin Fields is better than anybody that they have behind Ben Roethlisberger. If the Steelers brought back Ben Roethlisberger, this is my argument. If the Steelers brought back Ben Roethlisberger for a Super Bowl, he is ride or die. This is it. They brought back Juju Smith-Schuster, ride or die, Vince Williams, the whole nine. They did everything they could to just keep a contending team alive. You're going to tell me that with the 24th pick, you're going to go get a quarterback if he's there and say, well, we did almost everything right, and now we're just going to wait it out a couple of years. We're going to not win a Super Bowl the last 2 years because of this.
If Kevin Colbert has his horse blinders on, right, and he's only worried about the next 1 or 2 years, go grab Najee Harris. I think obviously he'll have more of an immediate impact to the team than Justin Fields. But if you have the opportunity to make that seamless transition from one franchise quarterback to another, very much like the Green Bay Packers did, going from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers.
But that's what I'm saying. How many Super Bowls? Brett Favre didn't win a Super Bowl in the last 10 years of his career. Aaron Rodgers won 1 Super Bowl.
But that's more of a franchise thing, if anything. I'm not pinning the blame on Rodgers, man.
I'm not putting the blame on Rodgers either, and it is a franchise thing, and that's what I'm saying. The Steelers are in win now mode every single season. They don't care what's 3 years down the road because they're trying to win a Super Bowl in 2021, and just like all their fans want them to do. So if your team is one major position short because you chose a quarterback that won't play for 2 more years, that just doesn't fit. That doesn't fit what the Steelers have tried to do their entire time.
I would agree with that, but I mean, they were pretty worried about Roethlisberger retiring a couple of years ago, and they went out and spent an early draft pick on Mason Rudolph. So they have to be thinking about the future.
That they got from Martavius Bryant. It's an early draft pick that they got from Martavius Bryant. They didn't spend they spent the 3rd round pick. A 3rd round pick
on Mason Rudolph, bro. Yeah,
Mason Rudolph was expected to be a first round pick.
They said they had a 1st round grade on him, which is scary yet entertaining at the same time.
Mason Rudolph was a first-round quarterback. He was expected to go in the first round. I get that he hasn't panned out to be what he did, but when Mason Rudolph came to Pittsburgh, people were like, okay, he has some potential. Once he didn't live up to that, the mindset changed quickly. But when Mason Rudolph came to Pittsburgh in the third round, people were saying left and right that it was a steal, that it was a great pick.
This is also the same organization that had a first-round grade on Terrell Edmonds.
But Terrell Edmonds panned out. Okay, Terrell Edmonds panned out. He's fine.
Bro. Don't say he's worth the first-round pick.
He's not worth the first-round pick, but he panned out. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
They thought they were drafting his brother, and you know that.
Look it. I'm not comparing Mason Rudolph and Terrell Edmonds. I'm not doing it because people thought that Mason Rudolph was going to end up in New England and that he was going to be the next Tom Brady. Okay, so that's just look it. People get real harsh on Mason Rudolph. I'm harsh on Mason Rudolph.
Definitely. And you know, I was behind Rudolph in 2019.
That's what I'm saying.
I was changed.
Like the whole perspective of Mason Rudolph changed. But at the time, a third round pick was a steal for Mason Rudolph. The Steelers were just looking just in case. They traded Martavius Bryant because they had guys to replace him. The Steelers didn't do anything. They didn't go out of their way in any which way.
They did go out of their way. They took a quarterback in the third round. Roethlisberger
for Martavius Bryant. For Martavius Bryant.
Do you remember how upset Ben was whenever they took Mason Rudolph instead of adding guys that can compete right now and help the roster?
Yeah, exactly. And we learned very quickly that Ben Roethlisberger was a little bit of a jealous guy. That's just how it is, and that's okay. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't change anything. If they're in win mode now and Justin Fields is there at 24, you stick with your plan and you go get a running back. That's just what you do. So I don't know. That's
it's going to be Najee Harris. I mean, barring anything crazy.
If Justin Fields is there,
it's going to be
I still think you go running back. I still think you boost the offense because if you're Ben Roethlisberger and you're saying. You just brought this up. This is your own argument.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger was mad that they didn't use a third-round pick to help the team. How mad is he going to be when he doesn't have a left tackle and his running back is Benny Snell Jr., but Justin Fields is waiting for him?
Roethlisberger is 40 years old, man. If I'm Kevin Colbert, if I'm Mike Tomlin, I don't give a damn what Ben thinks. If I can go get a franchise quarterback, not even move up for him, not even have to sacrifice other draft capital to move up and get him. If he falls to me at 24, Ben's got to be somewhat understanding.
No.
He knows where he's at.
He can't be understanding. How are you going to – you had a conversation with Art Rooney and said, I'm coming back to win a Super Bowl. And then he was like, yeah, that's cool, but we're ready for you to leave.
Yeah.
No. It's not.
The Steelers shut his options and were like, bro, if you don't get that cap hit down, you can go hang him up right now.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all for the Steelers to draft Justin Fields, even if he's there. Just doesn't make sense. You can find a franchise quarterback every single year. The Steelers would do something. We know they would do something. They do these things. It's not like they slacked on transition of players. Like the Steelers were never like, oh man, we don't have a quarterback. Like they always had somebody. There's not a team that has to worry about it. And guess what? They never did it early. Like ever. They did it with Ben and it kind of worked out. But Ben was somebody you couldn't pass on at 11. And Tommy Maddox was definitely at the end of his career. But besides that, no. Transitions have been smooth and they have put zero effort into them. So Justin Fields.
I think this might be the first actual thing we've disagreed on.
I disagree. I've waited. Everybody has just continuously said if Justin Fields there and the Steelers pass on him, they're just going to off themselves. And I'm just like, no. Like it makes no. You're gonna complain about drafting Justin Fields and push to draft Justin Fields, and then when they don't win a Super Bowl and their offense is awful, they're going to complain all year long that they didn't win a Super Bowl and that their offense is awful. But guess what? They have Justin Fields on the bench doing absolutely nothing. Makes zero sense.
Can we agree that short term it doesn't make sense, but long term building a team it would make sense?
It does make sense long term. Okay. Long term I will agree with. That's it.
Will it happen? No. It won't happen.
But definitely not. But that's what I'm trying to say. Even if it does, even if the opportunity is there, it's still not going to happen. I can promise you that. I can promise you that. All right. So what we're gonna do for everybody out there, I have to call you out for this. Is someone cutting your grass?
Bro, 100%. They weren't supposed to be here today. I don't know why the landscapers are here right now.
I saw you looking, and I thought it was the computer, and I was like, I wonder if Donnie's good. And then I was like, no, someone's cutting his grass. That's all right. We like a little ambiance here at AllSteelers Talk. We love it out here. That's fine. So for everybody listening, this is what we are going to do. Me and Donnie are going to go through a 7-round mock draft on Pro Football Network or did I say that? Pro Football Network. PFN. Controlling the Steelers. We're going to break it down. Hopefully it becomes as realistic as possible. Most of the time that these are done, they either go absolutely nuts or they totally work out. We're going to hope that it works out and that everything runs smoothly. We'll get this set up here for you. I hope that this works. Can you? There we go. Oh, I could do this whole thing. This is crazy. I never worked on here. Alrighty. Honey, they're going ham on your thing. Let me tell you here.
Bro,
you're gonna have
right now.
You are gonna have a great looking yard at the end of this mock draft.
How many people like?
If we
there's so much more efficient ways to get leaves in one centralized area, bro.
There's so. Wait, they're in the yard? They're running the leaf blower in the yard?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. That's all right. You know what? Everybody needs a job. It's a pandemic. It's all good. It's no worries. It's no worries. All right. So as we started off here, as everybody could see what's going on, we are obviously going to take it slow. But the first pick in the draft, Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
No questions asked. As we go through, if anything happens, anything crazy happens, we'll jump on there. There's Mac Jones. There goes
4 quarterbacks in a row.
4 quarterbacks in a row. Justin Fields 4th to the Falcons. Is that even a real thing? Is that even a possibility?
It might be, man. If Fields does fall to number 4, which it definitely looks like he will be doing. But I know the Niners are apparently split between guys like Mac Jones and Trey Lance. A couple of inside people think Trey Lance has the edge over Mac Jones, but obviously we won't know until the actual card is read out loud. Number 4 is a real interesting spot for the Falcons. They can definitely go Kyle Pitts. They can add to their offensive arsenal, especially whenever you consider they're looking to, potentially move Julio Jones after June. And then why not? If Matt Ryan is on his last 2 legs, I mean, I know they restructured his deal, so he's pretty much stuck there for the next 2 or 3 years. But why not have a guy like Justin Fields sit behind him for the next couple of years? And how many more times are you going to be able to pick a franchise quarterback in the top 5? I don't think there's opportunities come along very, very much. So I would absolutely understand if they went Fields right there. And then even number 5, that's a heavily debated pick. Do the Bengals go Penny Sewell and get Joe Burrow that protection, or do they go Jamar Chase and reunite Burrow with his top target whenever he's slinging the ball in college?
See, that one to me, I get Jamar Chase. Like I get the whole argument, but at the same time, I don't agree that Trey Lance to the Broncos is interesting. I do not agree. Kyle Pitts fell to 13. We're talking about this. Wow. And Najee Harris off the board. So we'll go back. I don't think you pass up on an offensive tackle. Joe Burrow is the future. Everybody saw that. We had a trade here. The Cardinals moved up to 10 to get Patrick Surtain. Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, Owusu-Koramoah before Parsons. That's interesting.
Interesting. A little off-the-field issues there. Could very well happen. Najee Harris, 15 to the New England Patriots. That's very realistic. Very high, very realistic. That's a lot of running backs. Like, I understand the argument for the Patriots to draft Najee Harris, but at the same time, like, how many times are you going to try to get a running back before you realize that you just can't run the football in New England? You just can't do it.
Well, even ever in New England, were consistently in the Super Bowl monarchy, which was going year after year. They did it with basically a committee backfield. They didn't sing a whole lot of draft capital and to rushing the football. Certainly their offensive line, but not in the running back stable. So Najee to New England would definitely surprise me, given how Bill Belichick likes to operate a team.
Exactly. Just doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but it could happen. A lot of people link those two together, so I could see it going down. The Cowboys, right? Trading back for a wide receiver.
Bateman? Another receiver?
There's Zaven Collins on the board.
Goes.
That's rough. That's rough.
Oh, man.
It makes it interesting. So here we go. So, okay, I will say this. The Steelers, Kevin Colbert did not deny that he would possibly trade back in the draft if they believe that somebody's there that could benefit them within 5 picks. Also, you get pick 59, you move up from 87. That's not terrible. That's really not. Are we looking for trades in this? That's a decision we haven't really.
What's the other offer?
The other offer is a lot for.
Ooh.
I don't like this though. Like I do like this, but that's too far of a drop, I think. I don't think the Steelers are looking to move back that far, realistically. 26, I think this is a real option. I don't see.
Yeah, you move back 2 spots in the first, but move up what?
2 spots in the first, but look,
30 spots, yeah.
30 spots. And you still got guys like J.C. Horn still on the board. Sam Cosmi still on the board. There, Tavon Jenkins is there. There are guys there that there's enough guys for 3 picks.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're going to lose. I don't even know what the Browns are looking for here. So that's on you. Are we going trades? How are we feeling about trades?
It don't matter. It completely up to you, my man. I mean, we can if you want, but
I'm feeling good about this. We'll keep it realistic.
Yeah.
And I think this is a realistic option for the Steelers here. So we'll accept it here. We'll move back. Caleb Farley.
It took Farley over Horn.
Farley over Horn. So here's another question. 26 to 30. Okay. And then you get a 3rd round pick next year. All right. We will ignore next year. Anything with a next year in it, we won't do. So definitely none of these.
Yeah.
All righty. So we're on the board here. Caleb Farley gone. Travis Etienne gone. At this point, you can't go running back in the 1st round, correct?
Yeah. Not Javonte Williams.
Not Javonte Williams. Cannot go Javonte Williams. I think it's very interesting, though, because J.C. Horn is on the board. And I think by far he is the
That's
best
what I'm
player
looking
available.
at, too, man. I mean, he is indeed, man. And, Kwity Paye, the just out of Michigan, isn't, really a positional need right now. Joseph Osai out of Texas isn't really fitting that build. I mean, I know we're looking at guys like Sam Cosmi, Creed Humphrey, and Tevin Jenkins as possible fits right there as well. But I mean, just going best play available. The fact that J.C. Horn fell. I mean, your best corner is Joe Hayden. And not to say he isn't good, but Joe Hayden is certainly up there in years. You have a pretty much unsolidified cornerback 2 in Cam Sutton. And after that, after Justin Lane's arrest, you have James Pierre, and that's about it, man. And, for every penny that I could probably put on it, I think J.C. Horn is probably set up to be one of the better cornerback prospects to come out in the last couple of years or so. So I think getting him at 26 would be an absolute steal.
I definitely agree. The Steelers, what the Steelers are going to do in the 1st round, that Colbert explained it perfectly. They're just going to pick 24 guys. They're going to go pick by pick. And if they were 1, this is who they would pick. If they were 2, this is who they would pick based on the best guys on the board. J.C. Horn is by far the best guy on the board right now. I think it's an easy pick. There it is. Cornerback, gone. Sam Cosmi sliding to the 2nd round. Huge. Alex Leatherwood before Sam Cosmi. Unless I missed something. Did I miss something? No. Oh, never mind. Right
Baltimore.
after.
Yep.
Baltimore.
They did not like Alejandro Villanueva, apparently.
They did not. No, I don't think anybody likes Alejandro.
Really looking to see if Javonte will fall here, though.
I am also worried. Creed Humphrey's gone.
He's out of here. Yep, 45.
Oh,
45. About the Jacksonville, too, man.
It's a tough one. Sante Samuel Jr. sliding to 52. That's interesting. Man, another trade. Another good trade.
That is a good trade.
That's a great trade. Like,
That's a great trade. I don't know if Miranez is going to be there from Wisconsin Whitewater.
You don't know if he's going to be there for 3 picks, 4 picks?
I don't, bro.
Is there – okay, so here's the question. Is there people on the board? I know that we can't see the board. But is there people that you believe are still available? There are 5 good ones at this point?
I thought I saw Creed Humphrey's name still up on the draft board, but he must have already been picked. I don't know if it went.
Creed Humphreys went a little while ago. I didn't see Landon Dickerson go, which is a big name.
I thought I saw Dickerson already off the board. This is tough, man.
This is tough. This is tough because 127 is a good pick. You can still find a lot of talent at 127. At this point, the Steelers are looking at 10 picks. Like 10 picks when you don't have any undrafted free agents to work with is nice. Like
it is. I don't know. I just don't want to water out the talent pool. I mean, accumulating picks is obviously nice, but I mean, we really need to work on the offensive side of the ball. And luckily, J.C. Horn fell in our lap there at pick number, what was it, 27?
Yeah, 26. You're right. If you're feeling that Miranez is the best guy on the board right now and a must, then I don't think it makes sense to make the trade.
I'm not confident in BJ Finney for the future. I'm sure so not confident in JC Hassenauer. I think you get one of those essential building blocks for the future. And I think Miranez probably fits that mold here in the second round.
All right. Sorry, guys. We're hanging up the phone there. I agree. You know, we'll just take a quick look.
Ooh.
Liam Eichenberg.
Eichenberg's still there.
That's a good pick. But I think that when I worry about Michael Carter still here, that's a guy that if we slid back, I would have felt confident with.
Mm-hmm. Josh Myers is still available.
This is what I'm saying.
They're picking at what, 55 and 59, right? Because we traded back with the Colts.
We do have a pick at 59 now, which I look at. Josh Myers is good. I think Quinn's a way better. I think that he's got a lot more upside.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Liam Eichenberg here. I may be at 59, but I don't like him here. I think that is.
I would 100% be willing to wait for Eichenberg and then go ahead and take the better center prospect here.
So you'd say Eichenberg, the better center here, waiting on Eichenberg. Yeah. Okay. Do we factor in Michael Carter?
You certainly can. Especially with that second round pick as well. I obviously don't think Carter's going to go between that time period.
No.
Gainwell's still there. Sermon's still there. Herbert.
I don't believe he will either.
No,
unless he goes to Seattle. I don't think he'd go though.
No.
All right, so we're going Quinn.
Running back. Colts don't need a running back. No.
All right, so we're going Quinn Miranez.
Yeah,
Miranez. Thank you.
Miranez.
Feeling good about it. Trey Smith, Ronnie Perkins. No, I don't think. No. So you're saying at this point you're going to go Eichenberg here? You feeling better about Eichenberg, or are you feeling better about Michael Carter? Spencer Brown, Walker Little still all on the board.
Yeah.
Steelers don't pick again for a minute, you know?
Yep.
We did actually. What was our trade? Where did we move back to? We gave up our third.
Yeah. It's one of the Browns ones. Scroll up.
What? No, we gave up our third pick.
Yeah. No, I was telling you the Browns.
Oh yeah, 87. Yeah. I knew that. In the fourth round, do you think a guy like Walker Little's still around in the fourth round? Do you think a running back worth it anything is still around in the fourth round?
I think if you want to roll the dice on Sermon still being there, that might be acceptable. Gainwell still also might be there, but there's no way we get out of the third round and Michael Carter is still there.
I agree. So is it? I think it goes between Michael Carter and Liam Eichenberg, and that's if you believe that Spencer Brown or Walker Little is going to still be there at one whatever in the fourth round. I think we break it down. I think I would break it down like this. Liam Eichenberg, good. I think he's got a great ceiling or a great floor, low ceiling. He's going to be NFL ready. I trust Chooks a lot more than I trust Benny Snell Jr.
And
if
that's what I'm thinking right now. I think. Good.
No, go ahead. I have nothing to say.
No, you're good. I was just saying. I think the Steelers' worst case scenario, if Chooks is at left and Banner is at right tackle, I think they can live with that for another year. I don't think they should feel hard pressed to absolutely nail an offensive tackle pick. Is an upgrade needed? Yeah, but you definitely just kind of want to put the pieces to the puzzle together the right way here.
I agree. I love that. I love that. That's perfect. That was said perfectly. So I'm feeling good about Michael Carter, if you are as well.
Yeah, I think you get the best running back available here.
Me too. So far we've gone Eichenberg,
Horn.
65. Horn, JC Horn, Mearners in the second. Am I saying that name right? I never say names right. And then Michael Carter at the end of the second. That's a good 3. I feel very good about those 3 picks. I don't feel bad at all.
I think Carter went a little bit higher than he'll probably go in the actual draft. But
Walker Little gone.
I mean, if you're not drafting for a long time,
yeah, that's where I think the energy, the push came in. Is that the Steelers? I don't think the Steelers want to go in without a new running back. Tommy Tremble gone. That one upsets me. I was really hoping he was sliding to the 4th. I'm all about the Tommy Tremble train. I think that I say it all the time. The Steelers love their Notre Dame guys, and he is the perfect Notre Dame guy. But I think that if the options are running back or Benny Snell Jr., you got to go running back.
Future Steelers quarterback Kyle Trask, 121 to the Texans. Nice.
Definitely.
Sermon was there. Interesting.
See, but here's the thing. I think the gap between Michael Carter and Trey Sermon is pretty big.
And I said this on Twitter, and a lot of people got upset at me, but I feel like Sermon more so fits the mold of a guy like Benny Snell. I think Sermon is a better version of Benny Snell, but Sermon is pretty much a bigger physical running back, and he just wouldn't add like this like different dynamic the Steelers are looking for, in the running back room. They need more of a shifty, pass oriented, pass catching kind of guy. I don't think Sermon necessarily fits the mold of what they're looking for.
I 100% agree. I just don't like, he's not a 3-down back. And even if he is a 3-down back, he's a 3-down back in a couple of years, not right now. And the Steelers they don't need that. They don't need another maybe. They need a definite. And Michael Carter at that time was the only thing close enough to a definite. Anything after him, I don't feel good about. And they're not going to go with Gainwell because he didn't play in 2020. And they don't feel good about that. Big question now is, where do we approach? At what time do we approach something else? Because you have Adrian Ely, a good name. I don't think he's a starter in the NFL right now, but a good name. Hayes, great edge rusher here to find in the 4th round. You could go anywhere.
Shaun Wade's a guy that a lot of Steeler fans have been kind of pounding the table for in the mid-rounds there too.
Yeah, but I think that goes away because we drafted JC Horn.
Yeah.
There's no really, the Steelers, Shaun Wade would have made a lot of sense as that utility option to replace Cam Sutton, but now I don't think he makes any sense because JC Horn's going to play on the outside.
Yep.
And Cam Sutton's going to play he's going to go back to his utility piece. And then you're going to have James Pierre who probably start playing everywhere. So I don't think that makes sense. I do get that though. Like I do get the thought behind that. We could look at tackles available, but that's tough. I think outside of
not a lot of quality here.
Not a lot of quality here. Tight end, obviously an option, but nothing here either. I don't think there's anything here. Like at this point, I'm waiting for Noah Gray. Not for a while. At this point, I'm feeling good about Noah Gray, like later in the draft. And do you start looking at, we're in the 4th round, do you start looking at defense? Do you start looking at a running back or a wide receiver? I mean, Justin Hilliard is a good guy, but that's still way early for him. Dalen Hayes is a name that keeps coming to me, but I don't know that you need an edge rusher this early.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't. You don't. So what position
tough.
of need are we targeting? What are we looking for here?
I think, here in the 4th round, just got to go best player available, man. I know whether
Who
that's
is the best player available? Because at this point, Adrian Ely might be it, but I also think Dalen Hayes. I think Dalen Hayes is the best player available. I think Ely fits the best need, which is tough.
I think Ely, worst case scenario, would probably come in and maybe push Chooks at left tackle, and at worst provide some kind of depth behind him.
Yeah, do you think
I wouldn't be upset with it? Yeah.
So I agree. I think that Ely is the move here, but if you're in the 4th, and at this point you're not getting a starting tackle,
yeah,
you have Joe Haeg. Do you need another tackle to just come in and play like a maybe role, or do you wait it out until next season?
So, considering what we know about Joe Haeg, yeah, you definitely need somebody else. You
know some bad things about Joe Haeg.
If we're trying to compare edge to offensive tackle here, I like the starting 2 edge players better than I like the starting 2 offensive tackle players, which would lead me to believe that they need to invest a little bit more depth into offensive tackle. I'm not saying edge isn't a need, and I think we will probably end up drafting one here soon, if not this round. I at least would be more inclined to at least go offensive tackle here, just a little bit more than edge.
All right. And I do agree, you have AO out of Notre Dame. Hayes, I think, is a great name. So worst case scenario, you could really wait it out to Shaka Tony. But I agree. I think there's names there. Ely sounds like a move, not a great move, but he's a move.
Yeah, if we're going to put a 4th round pick into anything, I would rather put it into a position that, might actually need it, as opposed to where we know for sure Highsmith and Watt are going to be the 2 edges to start the season,
I do agree. 147 for 40. You get another pick at 140 at 195. You move up. That's a good move, but as much as I want to say yes, I think at this point in the draft, you're just looking for the best guys on the board.
Yeah.
So there's not really a good time to go backwards. And you're not really, I don't think you're adding much to your draft by moving up 50 spots from 254 to 195. I think if anything, we have a good amount of picks here.
Yeah, especially on day 3. The Steelers, I think, pick 4 times in the last 3 rounds. I'm not super sure. Yeah.
So I'm going to say no on this one. Here's where it gets interesting. Shaun Wade is still on the board. And yeah, I get that I just made an argument against him, but he is still on the board. And
I really like Dalen Hayes here, though.
I also really like Dalen Hayes. I think Dalen Hayes is a steal at this point in the draft. And he's from Notre Dame. And I take that all back. I take the Shaun Wade argument back because I was going to say Ohio State, they were out there. They definitely liked him. But they love their Notre Dame guys. They do love their Notre Dame guys. All right, Dalen Hayes.
I think so. Yeah, I think the Steelers would much rather build their pass rush through the front 7 as opposed to build their secondary. So.
Yeah, I agree. They're also, they turn Shaun Wade into nothing. The way that they develop
draft corners, yeah, definitely.
All right, round 5. What do we have? 4 picks left? 3.
I think so. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good about it.
Are you?
Is there a way to see our picks or not until the end?
I think once our pick might come up, they might
you might be able to click on
show the picks.
That could be true. I'm still a veteran in this. At this point, what are the teams? What are the highest needs?
I mean, you certainly got to think about tight end here.
Have to.
Yeah. I think tight end is kind of sticking out. Wide receiver is also another possibility here.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Inside
linebacker could easily be there, depending on who's around. I think that I wouldn't even rule out defensive tackle, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that too. I do think that the depth there is kind of
it's not great.
kind of
There.
yeah. Not a whole lot to it, but it's there.
It's there. It's all that matters. It's all that matters. It's not like they play, you know what I mean? They don't play a lot of Patrick Johnson. That's who I picked to go at this point to them. But see what I mean? Justin Hilliard out of Ohio State is a good name right here.
Mm-hmm, he certainly is.
He's a good name.
Marion Terry, the receiver from Florida State, a lot of people have been comparing him to Martavis Bryant just because he's super tall and he can stretch the field. But I mean, I feel like with the Steelers' current receiving core, I'm not. If he's there at another round, cool. But I'm not super impressed to get a receiver. So
I agree. I agree.
There we go.
3 picks left. For anybody who's wondering what we're looking at right now, I mean, we've filled some pretty good needs. We got corner, huge must, and easily the best player on the board at 26. Got a center that could come in and compete. Plus, he's definitely the best looking guy in the draft. Michael Carter at 59, I think is already an instant starter. Kind of like a Cam Akers guy that I use that example all the time because Cam Akers came in and did more than anybody expected him to do. And I love that. Adrian Neely, not feeling great about it, not feeling bad about it, feel kind of in the middle. And then Dalen Hayes, I think, is a steal at 140.
Yeah, I like the Carter pick at 59. I think that's a little bit early. Ely, I'm kind of whatever on. If he pans out, whatever. Dalen Hayes on 140, I do really like, though.
I do. Very, very much so like it. I think we have a good spread here. If we're listing needs in order, tight end, I would say yes, definitely number 1. The problem is where you find them one. I'm not feeling good about any of these.
Nope.
Nobody on the board. Noah Gray is the only name that's standing out to me right now. And I don't think he's a 5th round pick. Like I don't want to pick him in the 5th round. I'd rather wait and see if he fell. Linebacker, another one. Justin Hilliard, I think, is a good name here. But do we go back-to-back linebackers on a team that has linebackers?
I mean, yeah, but you have to remember, Dalen's going to be more of an edge, whereas Hilliard's going to be more of that
No, I know different linebacker. We got that, but neither position is a position of need. Like there it is, but Justin Hilliard's not going to come in and play this season.
Yeah, that's true. But if you think about it, if you're trying to fill positions of need, that pick 216, you did not draft very well.
You're also very true. Very, very true. You're looking at it the right way. So I don't know. I think my vote's in there for Justin Hilliard at 216.
I got to side with you. Yeah, Hilliard.
Love that move. I think that's 2 great defensive picks right there in the back end.
I'm talking about the Steelers, a team who will draft linebackers whether they have them or not.
Very true. Very, very true. Vince Williams is done after the season, most likely. It's a good pick. Will he ever, pan out? I don't know, but maybe. Dax Milne, gone. That was a good name. Noah Gray, gone.
Noah Gray, gone. Yep. Here we go.
Here we go. I think what do we have? 2 picks left? I think
245 and 254.
254. You have to go. I'll close right here. You have to go tight end.
Yep.
Or tight end. I'd say tight end and wide receiver. Here's where it's Dez Fitzpatrick to me is a great pick. I get that people are comparing him to Dree Archer because he's 0 pounds. But he's so fast. He's so fast. He's so electric in the return game. I just think he's got so much upside. Briley Moore, I don't know anything about. And I don't know.
I can't say I know anything about him either.
That's what I'm saying.
If you click on it, it should pull up a mini scouting report. Nice head in. Grab him. Run it.
Yeah. I mean, fluid and passing routes is nice. I don't really care. I want to know how he does in the blocking game. This says big size tight end, big man 4 times. So slow stiffness as a blocker.
Yeah, that's not great.
That's not great but at the same time,
Moore is a solid blocker and pass catcher, but he's spectacular in either area.
Yeah,
Jesse James, great.
Big guy, can't do anything with it. I don't know. Do you know who Pro Wells is?
I can't say I do. Doesn't work box guard all the time. Get more.
I think Moore is the move here.
Yeah.
You can find a wide receiver anywhere. It's just a must at this point. I don't expect either of these guys to play. Zach Gentry, unfortunately, guys, is the backup tight end, and that's a lot, but also a little.
I'd be cool with either Darren Hall or Des Fitzpatrick here.
I would be too, and I like Darren Hall a lot.
Hubert is a big edge guy. People were thinking was going to go like probably early start of day 3.
I did see that. I do like that a lot. Hubert's good. I just don't think the Steelers have a need for him.
No, not at all.
I think that's my thing. Like we already drafted an edge rusher. Why would we do it again? Des Fitzpatrick, I think that he's a Ray McLeod, but a little better. And I like Ray McLeod a lot, but I think the Steelers are going to use him in a bunch of ways. And I think Matt Canada can do a ton with guys like Ray McLeod and Des Fitzpatrick. Darren Hall, I don't think the Steelers need. I think that James Pierre, they have enough faith in James Pierre to make him the 4th guy, that like main.
And the small amount of action we saw, Pierre wasn't terrible. And
exactly.
I'm willing to give Pierre a chance. I'm just not sure I'm ready to roll Pierre out from like day 1.
No, I'm not either. But with J.C. Horn, Pierre is the backup. We could go Ian Book and just add that quarterback of the future if you're feeling a little ballsy.
Yeah.
Didn't even give me that today. Fantastic. All right, we're gonna finish it off here. I think my vote's in for Dez. Which is I think you finish off with a good draft. I wonder if Wyatt went undrafted. In my opinion, this is a great draft. Like, I get that you didn't get a superstar running back or a superstar offensive lineman, but you got a superstar corner, which is huge.
Yep.
And you fit the next 3 rounds, we went and just filled the offensive needs. So like you have options at bare minimum. Came back and got depth that they needed depth in positions that the Steelers love. Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert had nothing but praise about the linebacker and edge rushers in this draft. And then finished off with a little more offensive help, although I think a tight end early is a must. And
definitely, yeah. I think J.C. Horn being there at 27 definitely kind of threw off our conventional wisdom and plan for the draft. But I mean, when a guy like that is there, you definitely go and grab him. I definitely think they should address the tight end position a little bit before pick 245. But I mean, with Ebron there, it's not a crazy need, but I'm not confident in Zach Gentry at all. The rest of the draft, I like Galen Hayes. I like Justin Hilliard. Des Fitzpatrick in the 7th will be nice. At worst, he'll be a special teams contributor with the speed.
That's what I'm saying at bare minimum. And I think at best, he's a guy that Matt Canada could turn into a superstar, as long as he could put on another 10 pounds, 20, 30, 40 pounds. But, it starts somewhere. Overall, I think the Steelers get better with this. I mean, obviously their defense gets a lot better, but I think their offense does enough. I think that there's enough going on here where there's potential to pick up the run game. Michael Carter could be a stud. We don't know. He got stuck behind Javonte Williams. That changes things. And I just think that they're steals. I think fixing center goes a long way. If you give BJ Finney some competition with a nice, strong, young center, I mean, worst case scenario next season, Kevin Dotson and Quinn Mearners. That's a beautiful 1-2 right there. That's fan. And
I think that could be a great 1-2 this year. Just depending on how he looks like during camp and stuff. And I think should he emerge as a starter at center, I think that'd give the Steelers a little bit better depth at those 2 guard positions with BJ Finney and Hassenauer both playing there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that there's a lot of potential to add at least 3 starters, maybe 4 in this little group. And you never know, maybe Hayes comes in here and has a great rookie season and plays just as well as Alex Highsmith did last year. You need somebody behind them. I don't even think the Steelers have an edge rusher outside of Cassius Marsh right now. So, overall feeling good. I think that it turned out well. Do I think J.C. Horn actually goes to Pittsburgh? No. But I think that if it happens, it happens, and that's fantastic. And, Jim Morris said this to me 100 times in our conversations that the draft is wild, and we don't know what's going to happen. That happens all the time. It's how the Steelers ended up with Mason Rudolph. That's how they've done a million things over the years. So it is what it is. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on here with us. We really appreciate you. We are just as excited for the draft to kick off as you guys. So we will see you at AllSteelers.com right at 8 o'clock. Come and join us. Make sure you check out all of your pre-draft information there as well. Make sure to follow me and Donnie on Twitter at Noah Strack, at Donnie Droon, and then at SI Steelers for all your updates all night long. Enjoy your weekend. Welcome to the new Steelers. And we will see you next week to recap everything the Steelers do in the next 3 days.